Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our third design review of the day. Actually, more than that for me, but third live stream one. Okay, find solar eclipses by location. We talked about this before.
Yes, the previous proposal was to have an option in solar eclipse, but you suggested we create a new function called find solar eclipse.
I think it's what we should do. I think it's crazy to have an option.
Hello.
It's too weird.
All right.
Hi.
So yeah, so this is now a function dedicated to find the next or multiple solar eclipses. And it takes two arguments, a location, which can be extended, it can be a country, for example, and then a date, which if it is a date, it will give you the next one. If it is a date interval, it will give you all the eclipses in that date interval.
Okay.
In that location. So, right. So that's, for example, the next eclipse that intersects the US. Those are three eclipses. Yes, going through Spain in the next couple of years.
Cool.
And the next
Spain's
one
getting
is
an awful lot of eclipses. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, none of them is ideal, but yeah, it's good. And then it's possible to show all the eclipses through a given location. That's like the last one. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's nice. Very cool. And we can get that accurately for 10,000 years.
Yes, it works on our collection of 30,000 years of
I see.
72,000 eclipses.
I see.
So something else, it's a minor thing, but it's something that is interesting. There are these Muse types, and which are special eclipses. And there is this Muse type 7, which is very rare. It's very tiny eclipses in which the shadow cone touches the Earth, but the axis of the shadow cone does not. And so the totality,
Oh,
instead of
that's
being a
weird.
band, has this funny shape of a semi-disk.
Yeah, I understand how that could happen, but it's very weird.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
It's very rare. So now this can be found like very fast.
Well, if I say.
Well, the first time it has to auto-load all the NASA stuff.
It should have a progress. Oh, here we go. Why didn't that progress monitor come up immediately?
That I don't know. What?
Hump for the hump. I mean, that should clearly find the next one.
Absolutely. I
Okay, who knows?
sorry, I have no idea why that happened. I'm sorry. This always happens.
Yeah, it's all right. This is what I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll investigate in. Sorry about that. So yes, so this is the other big thing in this release. We are adding support for orbital elements. And so this is a manipulate that shows the fundamental orbital elements. It also shows in particular the fact that we can handle eccentricities larger than one. So it's not only about elliptic orbits.
Yeah.
It can be parabolic and hyperbolic orbits as well.
Somehow I feel like being able to draw an orbit, given how do you go from orbital elements to an image of an orbit?
Right. So the plan is to have an orbit, or we have discussed Astro trajectory, and then that object will be understood inside astrographics and inside future 3D graphics elements.
Okay.
It will also be able to report positions. This is an example you saw the previous time about computing many things for cities.
Notice the last item there for the points, the orbit points, is a tabular column.
Sorry, which thing?
Scroll
Okay,
back up. Output of the large.
Yes, we have added this. This might become a time series, actually. We want to have something that easily.
It should not be a tabular column. It should be a time series, surely.
Yeah. And something that takes something that contains in a nice way all the points of an orbit, so that it's very easy to draw orbits. A
Yes.
time series will be even more informative because it will also contain time information.
Yes.
Okay, so this is an example of drawing orbits. So we get all the GPS satellites, we compute the orbits for them, and then I'm hoping that the manipulate works already for you if you scroll the H. Yeah, so that shows all the GPS satellites moving during a day.
A nice little problem. It's when are you least covered, so to
Mhm.
speak. Okay.
Right,
Cool. Okay. But I see. So you're just putting a line through them here because you have orbital elements, but oh, I see. Orbit points is that time series object.
exactly. Yep.
We're going to
Yes.
need an astro trajectory, just like we're going to need geo trajectory.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, it's just that it adds another level of complication that we haven't handled yet.
Right. I mean, geo trajectory and astro trajectory should take a time series.
Exactly. Internally, they are going to contain a time series of orbital elements because the orbital elements change in time too.
I see. I see. But
But
a
from the
geo trajectory doesn't really need to. It can just be a time. I mean, a geo trajectory could be a time series of geopoints.
yes. Now the thing is that with orbits, because of the repetition, it's easier to store the orbital elements, which are like the constants of motion that vary
Yes.
very slowly.
Right. Right. Whereas geo trajectory has absolutely no guarantee of any. I mean, you could go anywhere.
Exactly. And we would need to resolve the oscillations very well to get precision. While with the orbital elements, because they vary so slowly,
Right.
it's much easier to go very far in time.
It's the wonder of inertia, inertial
E-
frames, and all those kind of things.
Exactly. So these studies of the future of the solar system don't study the positions of the planet. They study the evolution of
Right.
the constants of motion of the planets.
Right.
And they can go, I mean, much farther in the future. So this is another example of orbits for the moons of Jupiter, and then we keep zooming in.
Wow. That's a mess.
Right. So that thing is the little spot at the middle of the previous graphics.
Hmm. Okay. Bunch of random rocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So you see that we have the information now to draw orbits. It's just that we have to package it better to interact within astrographics and the rest of the astro functionality.
Yes. And we really need an astrographics 3D.
Yes.
But I mean, if I say something, I mean, really what one should be able to do is something like, astrographics 3D of something like astro orbit of Mars, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And the unperturbed orbit of Mars, based on the current instantaneous orbital elements, should just be drawn.
Exactly. I mean, astrographics should also do that.
Sure. Yeah.
The only thing that worries me about that is that, well, if you're viewing from Earth, yeah, you're going to get this path through the sky. It's not going to look like this where you're kind of floating out in the solar system somewhere.
I know. We need that as well. We need an astrographics. Well, the 3D, what does astrographics 3D mean from the surface of the Earth? It's the dome. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, but there's a different
I actually
graphic.
think that we need several 3D visualization functions. So if we're going to, for instance, there are these orbits, but there's also trajectories, journeys, and maybe you want to see them all together, like zoomed out. Maybe you want to follow it. Maybe so I think we have a bunch of prototypes, but we need to evolve a few of them to full system functions that are easy
Right, but I think one obvious thing
to
is
use.
you've got a view of the solar system like we're seeing here in this picture.
Yeah.
This is sort of exterior astrographics.
Yeah. But if you go to the moon, then it's like,
Well, if you're on the surface of the moon, you've got the same astrographics we've got today from a different viewing point, right? We can already do that, correct?
right. But
Yes.
what trajectory did you take to the
Well,
moon?
it's a 2D view, but yes.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is there's a kind of exterior astrographics, like
Yeah.
the thing we're seeing here,
Yeah.
as opposed to kind of a human looking at something from
Yes. So
Where you're kind of probably following along your probe or something, so you can see the probe too. Um, and you see
well,
all
I
the
mean,
other elements in the solar
look,
system.
it's a very common thing to want to make a picture of the solar system with some trajectory going through it, for example.
Right.
It's also common to want to say where the planets are at a particular time, not to just give their orbits.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, solar system graphics wouldn't horrify me. And just like we have geographics and we can do that for another planet, solar system graphics and then use an exoplanet is fine.
I
See what
see.
I'm saying?
Hmm.
Something
I
to
kind
keep
of
in
favor that because I don't think solar system graphics, I mean, if we have a graphic of a galaxy or something, it's going to be yet a different story. And the you know, the graphics of the 3D positions of stars are not very exciting. I mean, they're just, a bunch of points. Am I making sense? And we don't have spacecraft that have gone any distance there. So we don't have, I mean, you could imagine things where you want to show, the position of some jet going out of a bunch of stars and so on, but that's pretty exotic. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it makes sense to have something specialized for the solar system.
So I
something
recommend
else.
solar
Something
system
else to keep in
graphics.
mind, though, too, is that often when we're looking at these things, we're looking outside the box, looking in, like the graphic right there on the center of your screen, and we may have a different mode where we're actually inside the scene.
Sure,
Now,
but that's what astrographics is doing.
I mean, that's basic,
Astrographics, you put yourself in a particular place, and then that's
right?
where you are.
It's basically the view vector option, graphics 3D. Put your camera here, look here.
I know, but the fact is that, look, I think we should have a solar system graphics 3D, which is how you get a view of the solar system, with the default being, above the plane of the ecliptic in some reasonable place. That makes sense?
Yep.
Right. I kind of
That's
have
what
a
I would do.
WFR that's a prototype of that.
Good. I know you do, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I think you should build that. Um,
Yeah, so those are the next two objectives. The first one is the one you were discussing.
This was the vis. Yeah, the vis
Yeah.
side.
Then the second one is getting those position of satellites around the Earth with much better precision using
Okay. But then,
propagation of the elements.
but I don't understand what you specify. I mean, so okay, we can get a satellite that's, doing what it's doing, but in terms of computing, a transfer orbit from here to here, we're not proposing to do that, are we? Or are we?
Well, we're working with a library that will be able to do this sort of thing. And but at the same time, uh, when we get the TLE information for the satellites, currently we are doing some sort of Keplerian approximation about it, while there are propagators that will predict with errors of meters during
I
a
see.
few hours
Okay.
the position of the satellite.
But I mean, if you say get me from here to here,
Mhm.
there's what delta V do you need to do that?
Mhm.
Which is a yet different computation.
Yes, it's a different thing. Yeah.
We do
And
a bunch
then,
of
yeah,
examples like this with system modeler, orbit transfers and stuff.
okay. But I don't know whether we want to get into, I mean, the free propagation of a thing with certain orbital elements. No, I'm a little bit confused. The orbital elements don't have anything about air dragging and so on, right?
But that's what the next thing will have, the TLEs.
The TLE do have information about that.
Oh, they do. Okay. So
Yes,
it's a question
that's
of
why.
the propagator applying to the TLE. You apply the propagator to find out the actual position of the satellite. Is that the idea?
Exactly. And
Okay.
that's why they
And
have to be
that's why
updated
they're
every
more
few hours.
complicated, you know. So they have like those drag. I think they can even have propulsion to some limited extent.
Okay, I understand. So this is for free propagation of the satellite, whereby free we mean it's not fully Keplerian inertial. It has some other stuff going on, but all
Mhm.
specified by the TLEs.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that sounds sensible. Okay. Night hemisphere and friends. I thought we'd already talked about
Yes,
this, hadn't
we have looked at this. We can skip
Okay.
this if you want.
Okay. Is there
So
anything else on the
geoaxis, we
page?
have looked at that as well.
Yeah, we
And
looked
yeah,
at this.
we looked at this indeed
In the
We
preview,
looked,
yes.
in the preview. Yeah. So this, let's see if this works. This, yeah. So this is this new option of georotation. Exactly. So this is a rotation around the z-axis. Now this is a rotation around the
Wow.
y-axis.
Cool. So wait a minute. Why can't I pick up the Earth with Euler angles?
These are the Euler angles. Exactly.
I see.
These three are Euler angles, and they are applied in a given order, which is the order I've added there.
I see. And then we're projecting after that.
Exactly. Yep. You can change the projection. You change to orthographic or Lambert simultan.
Well, this one's going to look pretty straightforward, right? Then I'll be able to see the actual.
Exactly. So in this projection, the three angles feel very natural. In other projections, not so much, of course.
It's really cool. Nice demonstration. Make sure it gets in the demonstrations project.
Mm-hmm.
We don't
Right.
have so many geo demonstrations, do we? Maybe a thing worth getting somebody to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Jeff has added a bunch of examples in the example repository, but demonstrations, I don't think we have so many.
Yeah, that would be nice. Okay, this is beautiful. But now I don't understand because we've got in rotation matrix,
Mhm.
we have a bunch of ways to specify rotations. Are they compatible with these?
Yes, so these accepts the same rotation specifications as your reposition. The second argument, it takes, for example, a rotation matrix. It takes a specification of two cities and say, move this one to the other
I
one.
see. Cool. Well, there's a nice functionality.
Mhm.
So if you
So
want a
the-
rotation, Jose, that like says like go from one of the Astro reference frames to another, you could feed that to georotation?
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Or am I mixing up two
I'm a
things?
bug finder. Look at those. Oh no, that's Antarctica. I'm
That's
sorry.
Antarctica, yeah.
I thought that was. It just happens to be white.
Yeah, if you move, exactly, you move Antarctica somewhere else. Actually, getting the continents and the land in that band around it, it's kind of difficult.
I'm sure.
I mean, yeah, this has improved a lot since 14.3.
Yeah, no evidence of a coordinate singularity.
Sorry, what did you say?
No evidence of a coordinate
Oh,
singularity.
right. Hopefully. Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah. So this is, and so this is georotation, and I'm still working on the complementary geogrid rotation, which is easier. It's just rotating the final map
I see.
to produce this effect.
By the way, we should have a little video in the blog about this of these.
Mhm.
It's really cool. Okay, next up. Date interval.
This is mostly a couple of small quality of life improvements. We've extended all the options that work in date object, work in date interval now, including time system and date format, which weren't there previously. Those actually came after the original version of date interval. We have also, because of time series, there's been some updates to the typesetting of dates. We've kind of ported those same changes over to date intervals typesetting to get things a little more condensed. We used to have a beginning date and an end date on separate lines, kind of showing the same interval and condensing things a little bit. Like in that second example, both of those dates fall within the same day. So rather than repeat December 8th, 2025 twice. We're doing the parenthetical of that's the date from blah until blah.
I'm not sure I'm thrilled with parenthetical rather than a colon there or something.
We could do a colon. We initially avoided it because because tabular uses this notation of like a parenthetical. If all the columns fall inside the same day, you basically within the column header, it shows the day, and then the times are within the actual rows. And also because the colons, used in a lot of date notation with specific meaning.
Have we looked at this for tabular? Did we look at that format for tabular?
I think for 14.3 we did, but
Okay.
Yeah, we tried a bunch of very elaborate things in tabular to try and play with things, and kind of settled on that as the baseline that we use.
Sounds reasonable to me. All right, let's dig into nominal and ordinal data. So we looked at this a little bit before.
Yeah, we looked at it fairly briefly. So nominal object and ordinal object are new. They are based to a large degree on what was pre-existing with nominal scale and ordinal scale as scaling functions. But we've kind of extended both the scales and then also the. So if you
so there's no sub-value type approach to this.
Yeah, there's currently no sub-value approach. You could say nominal scale with just those elements, which is what's down below with the heads, tails. And then nominal object of that scale, comma, B will give you an object.
I why the nominal object's icon doesn't, it could just have a number of dots equal to the number of categories.
It could, yeah.
And also category count is surely capitalized wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think we double capitalize in
minor
these
point.
things.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't quite know what the point of a nominal object is. What can I do with it?
Okay. So the point of so right now they can live in tabular, because there we know the context. And when we do normal, you lose the scale. You just get sort of whatever the object is. So then you need to keep sort of separate scraps of paper and whatnot to keep track of that. If we keep it, then there's more things that work. So if you have a list of these objects, it will convert correctly to one of those categorical vectors or columns.
So for example, if I do random choice,
yeah, that will work.
I would like to be able to do random choice of nominal object.
You can do it of nominal scale.
Scale is the one that has the whole scale, but I guess one could.
I think one should have a nominal object with one argument.
Is that just analogous to the scale?
I don't quite understand what the scale means.
The scale is the set of possible choices.
Yeah.
So it's all the members that exist there. The nominal object is an instance of that one of those objects. So nominal object contains the scale itself. So there's a sub-value for nominal object that is categorical scale that will spit out the underlying scale. And similarly, the scale can spit out all of the possible objects.
I understand. If you ask it about a single nominal object. So
Yep.
if I say nominal scale of this nominal object.
Right now that doesn't, but that should do it.
Didn't work.
Well, if you, yeah.
It didn't work. Okay, I'm not absolutely wild about the appearance of these things. I think we should take a look at that.
Okay.
Is this already out in 14.3?
No, this is new.
No, this is.
Okay, so can we put that in the graphic design collection to look at?
Yep.
I think something like this will work, but I don't think this particular color is right. And I think it's too similar to entities, and it's just a bit weird.
Okay.
Okay.
So ordinal objects are very similar, but have implicit or explicit ordering associated with them, which nominal ones don't.
So nominal things are used to just tag things, like
But now
cat,
nominal
dog.
things could have a weighting. I mean, even if it's nominal, even if you,
What do you mean by that?
well, I
Yes, it
mean,
could like, but
something could be -1, you could numerify a nominal scale.
Yeah, we do have the ability to specify what we're calling a score based on the literature is basically the value associated with a member of a
I wouldn't
nominal
call it the
scale.
score. I would not call it the score. That implies a bunch of particular use cases, which I don't think are right. I would just call it the value or something.
We're currently using value to refer to the underlying expression. But yeah, I mean, we
Well,
had
something
looked at
other than
value at
score.
one.
Score is too
Mhm,
specific in my view.
mhm.
By the way, these icons are not great. The big
Yeah,
black.
they're placeholder, but
Okay,
yeah.
so that's another thing for the graphic
Mhm,
design collection, right?
mhm.
Carla, are you keeping track of those?
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
Okay. Okay. We talked about a bunch of these things. So
then there's system integration of various kinds. So there's this.
okay, but we have named collections of ordinal scales and so on, right?
Yes, we do. So that's the categorical scale data, which is where we're currently sticking it. I'm working on a data repository version of this, but this is basically, some pre-collected versions, like the Borg CR10 is one that's in here, obviously, and Likert, some of the common ones that we have.
What the heck is Borg CR10?
That is physical exertion scale.
Oh, okay.
So, an exercise is very hard, light,
Yeah,
etc.
I understand. Do we have like grades for,
Yep. So there's Japanese high school grading, Japanese.
Well, that's lovely, but what about basic American grading?
Yep.
US,
So that'd be U.S. So we have U.S. HE for higher ed and
is that a
U.S.
standard
HS.
abbreviation?
It is the most common I was able to find. I mean, grading scales are a whole rat's nest because they vary locale to locale, state to state. What you're thinking of for A through F is basically what's generally referred to as US high school grading, and A plus through F is considered US higher education grading, but it varies a lot.
Yeah, okay. What is
Um,
Volvo engine model?
so that is an example. So we have, if you scroll down a little bit, I also have these collected by application area. So there's, for example, a bunch of ordinal data that we pulled out for automotive scales that exist in one place or another from IHS, automobile manufacturers, different types of engine configuration, fuel injection type, and Volvo, for some reason, has released a comprehensive list of their engine models from the 2000s. So this is about 50 scales right now. There's many more we can add in.
Have you asked an LLM to just suggest categorical scales?
I have some of these, like some of the GIS scales are based off of a quick scan around and then kind
Okay,
of
I've
pulling
got
from
some other
my.
weird ones. What about computational complexity theory scale things? What
Yeah.
about the arithmetic hierarchy?
Mhm. Yeah, there's
What
a
about
lot of
trans-finite number hierarchies?
both
I mean,
both
there's all kinds
GIS
of.
and linguistics were cases where I was basically just grabbing a textbook that I have sitting on a shelf and saying, okay, what scales are commonly used here?
All right, okay.
And there's a lot
I've
of
got
depth
some
of
other
information.
I'm just going to make some other suggestions. Okay.
Sure.
The sentiment scales.
Mm.
I don't know, basic sentiment. We've already got basic sentiment coming out of our sentiment analyzer.
Hmm.
Aren't there? I mean, there are all kinds of crazy things in sports, right? I mean, different kinds of ski runs, different kinds of, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Martial arts belt order was one that I had put down as an example at one point. But yeah,
well,
there's
then
lots
then you've
of.
also got rank in the military,
Hmm.
and you've also got, just for entertainment value, in the old country, you've got the sequence of actually two sequences. One is the order of funky. I forget what the hell they're called. Terrible. The sort of the aristocracy levels.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
That's one thing. The other thing is, just don't quite know whether it fits, is all of the honorifics, like Herr Doctor Doctor type thing, that go in a certain order. I'm
Hmm.
not sure that fits.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll look at it, but yeah.
So there's a lot of scales that are used like in psychology, like scales of depression,
yes,
or in medicine, in biology.
right, what in biology?
So let me think for a second.
One person you might ask about this is Alan, because I bet he's ended up, when he, in his previous life, editing the World Almanac. I suspect reference books like that have tons of these things.
Yeah, I had an initial talk with him, but it would be good to look at. I have a pretty large list of reference scales that I just haven't gotten to curating yet, but we'll circle back.
I mean, and also for nominal scales, I assume, where have you got a list of nominal scales?
So if you do
Also for food, rating of various kinds, so food rating, food
Yes,
classifications,
like a
bond
triple A
ratings.
banana or something.
Yeah,
or
actually, there are
an
only
A
three
grade.
grades of banana.
Oh, is that right?
egg,
There are 8.
egg size grades are dependent on country, where they actually what the
Yes.
categories are and what they find.
So,
Beef
I mean, we've got
grades.
a bunch of these things in Wolfram Alpha, right?
Yep.
We've also got things like all the clothing sizes,
Hmm.
which do have, which are more, they're not literal. It means your foot is, 8 inches
Exactly
long or
this. Yeah.
something. They're more complicated.
Yep.
I mean, they usually so one way that they derive is some of them are derived from some quantitative thing, and there's an interval.
Yes. Right. But some are not.
Yeah. I
Some are
mean,
not.
many of the nominal scales are subjective too. We have
Yeah,
what are the list of available music genres? It really depends how far you want to drill down and what your categories are.
like genders even.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Can of worms. Okay. Oh yeah, there are all these ones about language ability, beginner, intermediate, fluent, those ones. You know those. Yes. There's oh yeah, I'm looking at various things here. Agreement, strongly agree, strongly disagree, those things, right? Are you understanding?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah. I
that's
actually,
usually called a Likert scale.
yeah. If you're
Okay,
curious, I
I'm
sent
seeing
a
other
copy of
random
one of those
scales here. I mean,
scales.
education level is another random scale.
Yep. Major within, school or departments
No,
that
but
would
I
exist
mean,
within school or
primary
No.
school,
not.
high school, bachelor's degree, what level of education does somebody identify themselves as having? Right?
It doesn't say your specialty, just level.
Yeah,
Yep.
just list,
Mhm.
you know, some high school or something, that's a level. Okay, so you've already got a big list here. There is, I know that this is in these almanacs and so on. I've seen this in almanacs. Bunch of things. I mean, there's also famously the chili pepper, whatever it is,
Scoville. Yeah.
yeah, scale. Aren't there some scales? There are tons of these.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you go to ordinal scale, nominal scale, you see lots of examples.
Okay.
The
Well, anyway, but I
reference.
mean, I don't know how many of these we can curate, and presumably these should be entities, right? I mean, you can enter them as strings, but presumably we should have an entity system for scales. Am I making sense? Because that way the scale, we can have other metadata associated with the scale.
Yeah, I mean the tension there is, some of the scales are very well defined, some of them are very fluid. And so there's a question of, do we want to be the authoritative curator of it through entity value, or do we want something like the data repository where
I see.
it's a little less formalized? It's
I'm
still,
not sure.
it's
I'm not
still
sure, 'cause
useful to
some
collect
scales are
them.
very well defined and some are not.
Mhm.
Hmm.
What
Well,
would
okay,
what
let's see
would the
what we can do
properties
with
for
these.
such a thing be if they were entities?
That's a good question.
I mean, we can have
Well,
entities just for alignment purposes, but usually if you're going to create an entity
no,
domain,
I
you
know,
want
I
them to
know,
have
I know.
power.
It's things like the origin of the thing and so on, but I'm not sure we even know that or care. Well, fair point. I mean, this would be a scales repository or something.
Yeah, and that would give us the flexibility of, if someone wants to go very deep and curate a long list of biology scales, they could be collected reasonably and still accessible, but we wouldn't have, entity value of
Actually, here's
scale
a very
has.
obvious one. It's the taxonomic hierarchy.
Mm,
Another ordinal scale would be the geological periods.
yep.
Another one, layers of the atmosphere.
Hmm.
Yes.
But there's a
Does-
ton of these in Wolfram Alpha. You should talk to those guys as well.
I'm curious, does it matter if they overlap when you have some of these scales?
What kind of overlap?
Well, for example, like you've got the Mesozoic era, and within that you have the Jurassic, Triassic, and
No,
Cretaceous
you don't want to do
periods.
it that way. I mean, there's geologic periods that go, Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous, etc., right? And then there's an overscale,
Right.
Paleozoic, Mesozoic, etc.,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it's hierarchical. Right.
Right. But we're not capturing the hierarchy in this. We're just capturing, it's a different ordinal scale that is of, I don't even know what those things are called, that they're epochs, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got ages, epochs, periods, eras, and eons.
Okay. Well, there's an ordinal scale right there.
Yeah. There.
And then corresponding ones for the rock layers that house
Hmm.
things of that age.
Right. But I mean, so, um, right. I mean, there's also a ton of industrial ones of these about sort of sizes of, bolts and things.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Look, I think some of these are much more useful than others.
And I think sort of this curated side of it, this one side of it, a lot of them are custom. So think of a tabular where you have, I don't know, like sales regions. Those
Yeah,
are
sure.
typical
Yes.
categories, or like product categories, like
All right.
depends on your company.
Okay. Max, take largest, take smallest. Yes, I understand. Sort, obviously.
Yep. That being the key difference between ordinal and nominal objects is there's no sorting besides canonical order on nominal
Right, but you can
objects.
certainly have counts and things like that, because you could have counts on
Yep.
any old random expression.
Yep. And this we talked about to a degree, but visual update to ordinal scale and nominal scale, they're
We
hooked
need to
into
talk about the
information.
graphic design of these.
Yep.
I don't think they're working yet.
Mhm. Nominal scale and ordinal scale register.
I hate this. This is not the right way to do this. We should not do it this way. This is another one of these stupid side effect pieces of garbage. Let's please not do this. Why do we need this?
The main convenience is to have the serialized version in a notebook be potentially more condensed. If I have a individual object, if my scale is all countries that are in the
This
world.
is not the right design. This is just not the right design. I understand why you're doing this, but it's not the
Mhm.
right design.
Okay.
This was a way of imitating the entity domain name.
Yeah. This is modeled closely on entity
understand.
register, but
I'm not keen on it. It will be better to have some other kind of thing where there's a wrapper or something. I don't know. I really hate these things with side effects, but they always just blow up.
Mhm.
Not keen on this one. I think we should. Okay, let's keep going and we'll come back to that.
So to categorical and from categorical are sort of analogs of to entity and from entity. They are convenient ways to go from an underlying expression to the wrapperized form. From categorical also has the flexibility that you can replace the categorical object with something like the value or the score or the label
So wait a
if you
minute.
want
If I
to.
want, between 1 and 2, it's a 1e. Between 2 and 4, it's a 2e. How do I do that? In other words,
Um,
I'm ordinalizing what is previously a continuous scale.
We don't have a function for that. That's the function we wanted to have for that was like number categorized. And then there would be other things like date categorized and so on.
Yes, that makes sense. That would be rather useful, I think.
Right. We proposed
yeah.
that for tabular, but I think we needed to progress with a little farther, before, because at the time you didn't think it was. But I think that as the whole system design and all areas are coming in, it's going to feel more and more useful.
Right.
Yeah. In some way
I
it's
mean,
it's like a binning operation.
Yes.
sure. By the way, another categorization, um, elliptic, parabolic, hyperbolic orbits, since we were talking
Mm.
about orbits.
Yes.
I'm thinking about this scale registration thing.
Yeah. In some ways we're doing it, it is specifically for the input form to some degree because we use a system under the hood where we're basically registering the scales internally and using, the low level structure of this is fairly efficient where the individual nominal objects are basically just an index and then they point to the scale.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand
But
why you need to register anything. I think you should just have, if you've got your own, I mean, the nominal scale just hangs around. It is what it is. It can
yep.
be whatever it wants to be.
Mhm.
What you're dealing with is a nominal object that refers to a certain nominal scale, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
So, I mean, if the nominal object was a subvalue of the nominal scale, which maybe is, have you already taken the subvalue of the nominal scale for something else?
That's a pre-existing usage that the visualization code has already done.
What does it do? There's various
The
properties of the scale, which, by the
yeah.
way, you were asking me, Jeff was asking what properties would the scale entity have? And that's a great example as visualization. Like, one of those pain scale things of the green, the green unhappy smiley, etc.
Mhm. Yep.
Right?
The icons. Yep.
So that's a good reason. That's a good example of a property.
Mhm.
I mean, I
Yeah.
have to say that what I favor is something, I mean, it's very overbearing to have to type nominal object of nominal scale of blah, blah, blah. Question is, what exactly have we done with the subvalues of nominal scale?
So subvalues of nominal scale both have properties and there are let me pull up the
But you see where I'm going. If you
Yep.
say no equals or ord equals ordinal scale of blah blah blah,
Right.
and you just say ord of A, ord of B, etc., that's pretty clean.
Yeah, it's pretty clean. I believe, Jose, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your particular concern is if scale is large and then is embedded inside each of these objects instances, when you're programming, it's fine if you just say you reference scale of blah, but if you try to serialize the data to its input form, it's going to get enormous.
Well, then that's a question of how
Correct.
we serialize it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
And
it
so
could
this
be.
was,
I mean, you just say with no equals nominal scale of blah, and then
Mhm.
whatever it is. But that's not a reason. Look, you can't serialize anything if it's registered and you've got some crazy side effect, right? That's a great reason to never do that. It's because you can't serialize it. Right? How would you
Yeah.
serialize that?
I mean, basically what,
Dead in the water.
yeah,
Go ahead.
what ends up happening is when you register it, you can then basically get the underlying reference form of it by saying nominal scale of whatever
This
you
is a
registered it
bad
to.
idea.
But
Registering
Hmm.
it is a bad idea.
Okay.
And you just nailed the last nail there by pointing out the issue of serialization.
Mhm.
So I
Another
think
possible issue, Stephen. Suppose you had a normal scale with a lot of different things. Okay. So since there no ordering doesn't make any difference, you could do so nominal scale of some list. We could do nominal scale. You could do permutations of that list, map over nominal scale, and those would potentially all be the same, right?
I understand. So why don't we make it orderless inside? Why don't we make nominal scale sort its inputs?
Yep, that's a good idea. And then there's
Yep.
a unique form which we can always canonicalize too.
Yeah. Let's come back to this question about how we store. What does it look like when you have a particular entry in a nominal scale or an ordinal scale? Doesn't matter which. So if we were able to do this, it would be lovely. But we won't be able to.
Yeah, not without. I
Well,
mean, nominal
what have
scale and
we
ordinal
already done?
scale
What have we already
are
done with nominal scale? Yeah.
so yeah, nominal scale has properties. It is currently experimental, but we don't want to monkey around too much. The
What
second
properties?
section down there with properties and arguments.
Which we could do with information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've already mimicked a lot of this in information on nominal scale and ordinal scale.
What alternative form do we have to represent an element of a nominal scale or an ordinal scale?
What do you mean by that? Or
Well, I mean,
we
we've
make one
got the
up,
thing.
or
Yeah, look, we've got a thing. It's called ord, and that is equal to an ordinal scale.
okay.
How do we take that ord thing and define a particular element from that scale?
Don't think we'd want to use element itself. But...
Well, okay, here's another possibility I don't like very much. Something like that. I like that. It's sort of correct. I don't like it very much.
Yeah.
And also, if you had to write the whole thing out, including nominal scale, it's pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Do we think it would, if we had the sub-values available, would we like to use them?
One of the things we found in defining a bunch of these is like you often want to define the scale first and just reuse. That's for sure. That
Yeah.
was such a ease,
Right,
like
exactly.
so we know that.
But see, one thing that's really nice is if you have a list of things,
Hmm.
F, G, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
here's all you have to do if it's a sub-value. Just say ord / at that.
Yeah, that is really nice.
Right. There's no too categorical and blah, 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 blah.
Well, I mean, there are possible issues when your categories are lists themselves, but
Well, no, there aren't. I mean, this is okay. You have a sublist there.
oh, that's right, that's map. Yes, so that's fine.
But this is going to return a list. If the list is very long, wouldn't we want to apply this and get a tabular column back, something like that?
Well, there must be different. There has to be a different way to do that. But I mean, if that thing you're mapping over is a tabular column, then you get tabular column in, tabular column out.
Yeah.
Um, okay, here's a suggestion. What about the possibility of having a new function, nominal and ordinal, that work with subvalues? Because you're saying nominal, this is a nominal object, A, that has scale ABC. Nice and short. I don't think we're going to want to, I mean, I think this is a good enough concept. This is a good thing to use it for. There's nominal and ordinal, and we deprecate nominal and ordinal scale.
Well, it need probably a little bit richer syntax, but that's probably can be done for nominal and ordinal.
Yeah.
That's the minimal case that you give there. It's fine.
Yes, yes, I understand. But then, and then, so this would be nominal of, satisfaction or something like that, whatever the name is
Mm-hmm.
of A. Or of,
Satisfied. Yeah.
There is, by the way, a question, if you say fantasticorial on the satisfaction scale, there's a question of, sort of interpreter machine learning like things, mapping those, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, we've talked with Carlo a little bit about how this will interact with interpreter and classify, etc.
But you see, it's quite nice if you say, you could return a nominal object from interpreter. You could put in nominal of satisfaction as the interpreter, or you could do this. And then you could say here, fantastic. And that would then return nominal.
Actually, so we had a case with forms, because quite often in forms you want, you know, like gender, you want just two possible values, and that's a typical categorical or nominal scale in that case.
Yes.
And I think that's closely related to interpreter, I assume.
It is very closely related. It's exactly what if you give that as the interpreter type.
It already provides the categories.
Right. I'm liking this. Where would we put the icons, for example? I think
so.
it would
They're
be
sort of.
information.
We could do icon data of whatever.
Yes, icon data of nominal of satisfaction. That's the right way to do it. And icon data, yeah, I mean, icon data is a valuable function that we haven't used much. So this would just give an icon for that.
Yep. And if you just gave satisfaction, it would give you the list of icons, or I guess probably an association of values.
Yes, it would be an association there. I don't know what it is, but anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this is looking good. This is what I suggest. I mean, I'm not even sure what to go ahead.
So you are suggesting that that stays there with two pairs of brackets, nominal of satisfaction satisfied, or does it evaluate into something else?
I don't have a strong opinion about that. I don't have a strong opinion.
I mean, if we want an icon for satisfied itself, I guess that should evaluate into something else.
Why? I'm sorry. If we want what?
So nominal of satisfaction can have an icon, but nominal of satisfied. So how can that thing with two pairs of brackets have an icon?
With icon data? Well, I'm confused. I have an icon where?
I mean, the typesetting of nominal of satisfaction of satisfied.
You mean great? Like if I'm
Or,
reading.
or satisfied? Yeah.
Okay, you have both.
Sorry.
Okay, fine.
Right. The same blue things that Nick has right now.
Yeah, that thing there is the object.
Yes. And
That
so that should typeset as something like this.
Mhm.
I don't know how to achieve that. Is there a fundamental problem with that?
Yes, Rob, is there any problem with associating raw objects with something like this with a subvalue?
Hello, Rob.
I think he was here.
Yeah, there's so no, that's no problem at all.
Mhm.
Like like time series and event series and all that stuff have subvalues which are interpreted. You just have to write subcode for it, and it's no problem at all.
Okay.
But Rob, you're talking about evaluation. This is going to stay here.
Yeah.
You guys can figure out I don't think it's super important. I mean, I think there is some value, probably. I don't even know whether it makes sense to have it stay like this or to evaluate. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
But
We'll
you
let
prefer
Rob.
that as an input
Well, it
form.
kind of it needs to evaluate, because what if you give something that's not in the scale?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Mm.
It's got to complain and
All right. Anyway, we can so maybe it is a second argument. It ingests into nominal of satisfaction, comma satisfied,
Right.
Okay.
which is fine. I mean,
Mhm, mhm.
that's better than having to have a separate nominal object and all this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I should get going. This was the end of our agenda, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
I have this feeling, okay, there's a certain uncookedness to this categorical stuff.
Yeah, so next release will have much more system integration and use cases. And we just couldn't go.
By
It's
the way,
just
trivial example of another ordinal scalar success and failure.
yes.
Mhm. Yeah, we found there's a
Read-
huge class of them that are basically binary classifications, and then
Yes.
Yeah. So another issue that we haven't covered yet that's dear to my heart is what happens to the tabular column categorical and categorical order.
What?
So the proposal right now is to add new two types, which is nominal and ordinal.
yeah, at the very bottom
Yes.
of the agenda here, there's examples.
And basically obsolete or hide categorical. Because then it mirrors the system design, the rest of the system design.
Yeah. I mean, we have a thing already called categorical, right?
Right. And what that would become in our new proposal is it would become sort of like a thing like packed array or sparse array. So it would be a different representation, but the data would actually be the same.
For what and what?
Because we don't want to tell users like, oh, but there's categorical ordered with a setting ordered. And then there's nominal and ordinal.
No, obviously not.
Right.
So it just should become nominal and ordinal.
Right.
And we have a bridge. I mean, from existing tabulas, it doesn't seem difficult.
But if somebody wants to check, say that column very hard, they have to make sure to use the, same key of very hard, select the ones that are very hard. You have to use the nominal object very hard in your
As
in
opposed
your
to using a
function,
string or something.
as opposed to using the thing very hard.
What do you mean the thing?
That meant the string. I meant the string. Sorry.
Okay, all right. But look, I think the idea of having a generic categorical type for tabular is not such a bad idea. It's for the loosey-goosey, I just want to use a string, I might have an extra string somewhere, case. And then this is the more buttoned down case, particularly for the ordinal case where there's definite ordering and so on.
Yeah, but what we're proposing to do is do that, but make it basically hidden, like packed array is hidden.
Yeah,
right?
okay, fine. If that's how you want to do it, that doesn't seem problematic. But I think if you enter a bunch of random strings, it could be the case that Tabular will recognize there's only 3 different types of strings and use a more efficient
Yes, it
representation.
already does that. Plus, your suggestion in the last review of an interface, a user interface to do things which would optimize the column, could suggest that.
Fair enough. Okay. Anything else to cover here?
Nope.
No.
Great. This is looking nice. Good stuff. All right. I think we have more design reviews, which involve some of you in the next few days.
Yep.
See you there.
Okay.
Actually,
Think so.
yeah,
See you.
okay.